Good evening, everybody. We're just waiting for people to join the meeting before we start.
So, unmute. There we go. Come on.
We're just waiting for a few more people to join before we start. We're having to let people in through the waiting room, so we're just waiting.
Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the North East. Like one or two familiar faces have been coming through onto the screen. Welcome you all here. For those who don't know me, I'm Councillor Gary Weatherall. I'm the chair of the local area committee. I would like to welcome you all this evening to the consultation event. This evening is being held to report back from the public consultation what took place in the North East Community Plan priorities. Will give the public an opportunity to consider the findings and to identify any gaps we've got in that what we had last time. The event is held online currently because of the situation with the COVID. I know the rules have changed, but before that we've had to set this meeting up. And we are all self-isolating. We've got 2 meters between members and staff.
Okay, no, don't.
A lot of people are at home. This online event, I will hand over to my colleague in domestic services to set up the details. Over to you, Philippa.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. This event is being conducted using Zoom as the virtual platform and will be live streamed for the public to view via the Council's Public Eye webcasting site. This will mean that the recording will also be available for people to view later through the Council's website. You should be aware that the authority is a data controller under the Data Protection Act. Data collected during the webcast will be retained in accordance with the Council's data retention policy. Therefore, by entering the virtual meeting room, you are consenting to being filmed and to the use of those images and sound recordings for webcasting. If members of the public do not wish to have their image captured, they should turn their camera off. Alternatively, you can leave the virtual meeting room and watch the live webcast from the Council's meetings web pages. We have a high number of attendees, so to help make the meeting run as smoothly as possible, it is important that all participants in the virtual meeting room have their microphone on mute for the duration of the meeting. At the appropriate part of the meeting, you will be able to indicate the wish to speak by using the raise hand function. The chair will let you know when this is. Please only unmute when the chair invites you to speak. This will help reduce the scope for noise interference. To assist with the smooth flow of the meeting, the chat facility is not available. May I also suggest that all mobile phones and similar devices are switched to silent in order to remove the potential for noise disturbance when speaking at the meeting. Also, please ensure that you have an appropriate background. Thank you in advance for your cooperation in this. One final thing to mention, a live transcript of the meeting is available by clicking on the live captioning button on your toolbar. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Philippa. So we have a running order this evening. What will take place with, well, I'm going to, I'd like to have, is your piece now, isn't it? After this, there will be a breakout into groups to discuss the different themes. It's all right, it was just flashing in front of me for a sec. Sorry, I've arisen. We'll explain how the breakout groups will work when we get into them. After the breakout rooms, the discussion, we will receive overview of the main discussion points over each group, from each group. We will collate this in details and identify it after the event to form final version of our plan. Finally, I will sum up the outline of the next steps. As I previously explained, due to the style of this event, we won't be taking public questions, but at any... Oh, we'll respond back to that later. The notes of the feedback of this event. Can I now ask councillors and officers please to introduce themselves? I will carry out their names as I ask them to unmute and introduce themselves. So, Councillor Sane.
I'm Councillor Salih Hussain, Councillor for Vengrave Ward and Deputy Chair of the committee.
Councillor Fran Belbin.
Hi, I'm Fran Belbin, Councillor for Firth Park Ward, and apologies that my head keeps disappearing on this screen.
Wait a minute now. Yeah, cheers. Councillor Chaplin.
Good evening, I'm Mike Chaplin. I'm Councillor for Southey Ward and Cabinet Advisor on Finance.
Councillor Tony Dams.
Hi, my name's Tony Dams. I'm also a councillor for Southey Ward and I'm chair of the South Yorkshire Fire Authority.
Councillor Mark Jones.
Hey Chair, I'm Councillor Mark Jones. I'm a representative for Burncreve Ward.
Councillor Abdul Qayyum.
Good evening. My name is Abdul Qayyum, Councillor for Firth Park Ward.
Abtisam Mohammed.
Thank you. I'm Councillor Abtisam Mohammed, Councillor for the Firth Park Ward.
Peter Price.
Peter Price, Councillor for Shire Green Brightside and Joint Chair of the Sheffield Planning Department.
Safia.
Councillor Sophia Said at Vengrave Ward here. Thank you.
I've got some officers in the room as well. Can we go around? Jason, I think you're in the virtual meeting.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jason Siddall. I'm the head of communities and I'm responsible for the North and the North East local area committees.
And we've got our LAC manager this evening as well.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Lindsey Hill. I'm the North East Local Area Committee Manager.
Councillor Dorndale, I've got your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I thought you'd forgot me then. Yeah, I'm Councillor Dorndale, Councillor for Shire Green and Brightside and Chair of Transition Committee 1 for our city.
Dawn, I could never forget you, honest. But can I just say something in my defence? Look, I've got a tick sheet. I don't know where that came. I don't know where that came from, but your name was missing from that sheet.
Well,
I know.
Councillor Duns must be missing as well, then, because you've missed her too.
Yeah, you missed Jane as well.
She's on crib sheet. I've ticked her name and not said it. Councillor Dunn.
Jane Dunn, Southey Ward.
I knew we used to have some teething problems in our first meeting, but you'll have to bear with us, members of the public. It's been a trying for all of us, yourselves as well, this last couple of years. And we've also got a couple of members of staff in room helping me as well, if you like to say who you are and what you do. Can you say no? No. We've got this new technology.
Dan Whitaker, Community Services Officer for the North East.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate Townend, the other Community Service Officer for the North East.
I can't see him. Where gone?
Hi everybody, my name is Jackie, one of the Communications Officers for the North East.
Hello, I'm Amir and I'm the Project Support Officer for the North East LAC.
Welcome everybody. That's good. Then so go through that bit. Right, I'm going to hand over to I'm speaker. I'm going to hand over now to our LAC manager Lindsay to go through the presentation. So it's not a long presentation. Lindsay, over to you.
Thanks, Chair. I've got a short presentation that gives you an overview of the findings and the consultation work that we've done so far as a team and at the last September's meeting that we had. We're going to start with a short video that it just reminds you of what the local area committee is. So we're going to play that and then I'll go into the slides of the presentation. About now. Just stop sharing. Just someone apologize. This did work earlier when we tried it, so apologies for this. Again, it's the online connection. Just bear with us. Apologies for the delay.
It's all right. You were laughing, Megan.
I've just clicked advice, computer audio. Basic. Can you hear it? Can you hear it?
No, but we can hear you, Katie.
I know.
Can't hear anything.
Just go back to the beginning. Thank you. Yeah, just press play. Thanks, Katie.
Just to let you know, there are subtitles at the bottom of it, so we can't get the sound working, but there are subtitles.
It's just explaining that the local area committee is a new way of Sheffield to make a difference in communities. It's the way that it gives everybody a voice and it's part of the Empowering Communities programme. It's a way to get involved and make a difference to your local community by enabling, engaging and embedding those priorities in our area. Local area committees got 7 local area committees up and running across the city. And ours is the North East there in the pale green, you can see. It's a way to influence and give your opinion and make a difference in the decisions that we make, and it can contribute to a positive change in the North East. That's why we're here today, and we'd like you to get involved to improve the area and the committee. We've got some dedicated budgets and some devolved budgets. And again, it's part of the Empowering Communities programme, and it's there to make a real impact on the community and make safer neighbourhoods. You can get involved in various ways. We've got a Gov delivery or the Nextdoor app you can use. Or you can complete a survey online when we've got those up and running live, or you can go to our social media pages on Twitter and Facebook. You could submit a question to us either in person or online or through our email, which we're going to give at the end of the event today. And you could participate in any ongoing activities, which I'll tell you about in a moment. You can contact your local ward councillor or local LAC chair and deputy chair and come along to hear the meetings, the views and discussions taking place as you are today. And you can find out more through the LAC page at sheffield.gov.uk, and it's North East LACs, and that gives you all the details of how to contact us as well. So apologies for not getting the sound up and running for that. We've put together a timeline. I'll go into where we've been since September till now. Today we're here for the online consultation event that's taking place. And throughout February and March, we're going to carry out loads more engagement activity to really get to the bottom and get your voices heard. We're going to do that through pop-up ward events and various different activities taking place. The next formal public meeting will be held in March, where we'll approve the priorities and the outcomes that we've discussed today. And then we'll start to develop those delivery action plans and how we're actually going to deliver those priorities between March and June. We'll then hold another quarterly meeting in June, which again will approve the full plan. So that'll have the priorities and the delivery action plans, and then we'll start to implement it from June. There's lots of activity carrying on already, so we're not waiting till June for you to tell us your thoughts and start to do this work. We've actually started quite a bit of this already as well, based on what we already know and the ward priorities that we're already delivering. Katie. So far from September till now, we carried out some online surveys and paper surveys. VCF groups actually carried out some of those paper surveys for us. We had 647 responses. We've still got a bit of a way to go with inclusivity and making sure that we deliver on our equalities. And that's why we're going to do some more targeted work now to make sure we get those voices heard. It just gives you an idea of some of the comparisons we've made. We didn't have no younger people filling the surveys. We had fewer BAME in comparison to the North East population. It was only a slight less proportion. We had no transgender or non-binary. We did have a high proportion of people with disability or long-term illness. And again, we need to make sure that's reflected in our priorities. So what we're going to do now is use this information to better engage and delivery on inclusivity. What they did tell us, these are the respondents of the 647, is more than half were happy with where they lived, and actually 70% of them had lived in the area for over 10 years. So that tells us that people that live in the North East like to live here and stay here, and it's generational. Over half didn't feel involved or able to influence on the decision, but that's why the local area committee is here to hear your voice and to make sure that we deliver on that for you and that you do influence those decisions we're making going forward. 3/4 of people we found it difficult to find out what's going off across the area, and we're really looking for ideas of how we can better do that, possibly with things like notice board across the area, better social media, and better ways that we can deliver the activity in great groups that we've got going off at the moment already. And people's most preferred way to hear about news in the local area were through websites, email, updates and social media. But bear in mind, the majority were online, so there were already people that were digitally included. So again, we need to make sure that's reflected in what we're doing in going out and doing that engagement activity. So far, I mentioned earlier, we had the first public meeting in September. A bit of a rocky start for us because it was our first one. It was a general meet and greet with the public, and that was to share the initial views of what people had, and they raised some issues with us there, which we've already started to look at and work on. We did some general activities around the North East area, like working in local libraries, some walkabouts, visiting community centres and food banks, visiting coffee mornings, and being part of the police pop-ups you'll have seen across our area already. So that's some of the work that we've been doing to collate the voices. So it's not just the 647 survey results, we've actually captured a lot more voices in there as well that are form part of the priorities. And again, we're going to do more activity going forward. So just to give you a flavour of some of the things that people told us, generally, a lot of people, and we had a high volume of comments made about the things that they liked about their community, which again, I think reflects the long-term people that live in our area. So because we've had people living here over 10 years, they love the area. It's a people area. So a lot of people were talking about, they had the friendly neighbours, and there were people that really made the community what it is. They liked the location and that we're nearby to the hospital. They loved the diversity of our community. and how open we are. They like the green and open spaces, and we've just named a few there. I do know there are others, so if your favourite's not named, don't be offended. And we like the good transport links across the North East. Got fantastic links to motorway and some dual carriageways going in and out of the city. Things that people generally wanted to be improved. I don't think this is no surprises here, because it's things that people already tell us anyway as a council. But again, it's to make sure that these are the views of people. So to improve our area, we want cleaner footpaths and streets and maintained roads. We want to tackle the speeding and off-road bikes that we've got in our area, which the police and community safety team are already working on. We want to be educating people about litter and improving our environment in general, investing in facilities for families and young people. And again, we already know and doing some work around that already, and having more local community events and activities, which again, hopefully the local area committee will help to promote and help to deliver going forward. But they were just general comments that we had going forward. So that would just give you a flavour. So what's coming up next? So after today's event, we're not stopping here. Between February and March, we're going to deliver pop-up ward events, some more online workshops. We think these are a really good idea, but again, want to be inclusive. So we're going to get out there and visit you and where you are. So come and see us in libraries, housing offices, our local customer access points, and again, the councillor surgeries. Feel free to come along to those and tell your local councillor your views, as some of you do already, and we can take those on board. And if anybody's got any ideas how we can better engage and what we can do, please again share them with us. We want to make this as inclusive as possible, and this plan is actually the North East plan. It's your plan, it's not our plan. So you tell us your thoughts and your views and make sure that we're getting that full engagement. The public meeting that's coming up in March will be to deliver back to you the priorities and the outcomes that you've told us, some of which you'll mention today. And again, we'll carry on collating those through February and March, as I've just described. Again, it's a great way as well at the Marchers meeting to tell you about some of the work that we've already got ongoing. We're already doing some work around highways with safer roads. We're already doing a youth services review. There's lots of things on activity already going off and great work. That's not to mention our voluntary community and faith groups and organisations we've got doing fantastic work out there already. So we can share that with you and tell you about that at the next March. That will be an in-person meeting, and we've provisionally booked a date for that. So that will go live on the website. So look out for that and book your place on that as soon as that's available. The next part, after the Marchers meeting and you've agreed your priorities and the outcomes that we're going to deliver as part of this community plan, will be to create those action plans. So what we'll do there is put in there the work that's already ongoing and the projects that we've already got, but we'll also start to think about how we can realistically deliver those outcomes and how we can make sure that we can be accountable to make sure that that happens for you. What we don't want is asking you what you think and then not delivering that. So that's giving us that time between March and June to be able to build those action plans together with yourselves to make sure that we've got timescale and owners to those. So when we report back to you in June, we've got a full plan with priorities and outcomes and delivery action plans with them. And then in September's meeting, the next quarterly one, we'll be telling you what activity we've already done and that we're delivering on those with some short-term, medium-term and long-term timescales in there to be delivering. So again, there's already activity ongoing, but we'll make sure we feed back and tell you about those as they're going on. So we've got the 8 themes that we've already told people about already, because you've already preferenced for the workshop or what you want to be a part of and have a discussion on. We've got 8 key themes and we're going to align all the priorities and outcomes under those 8 themes. And that's what we've used when people have given us their comments, suggestions and opinions. We've put them under those themes. So with the things that people like, we've done under those themes, and the people that have said they want to improve or the comments that have been made, we've put under those themes. And again, this is really your opportunity in these workshops to be a part of that. Due to some low numbers in some of the workshops, we put 2 of the themes together. So when you go into the workshops, you will have your preferred theme to discuss, but you'll also have time on another theme to discuss somebody else's. But please feel free, your voice is exceptionally important to us, and we want to make sure that we get those opinions as part of that. So feel free to join both those conversations and be a part of that for us and share those comments. So the workshops are a real chance for you to share your ideas and outcome with us. I just want to reiterate, it's your community and it's your plan that we're delivering. So we want it to be everything what you would like it to be. So just think about the North East, and if it's wonderful and great and we'd got a gold star, what would that look like? So what would be make your community even better than what it is? We already know we've got a massive asset in our people, but what else can we do to make your life better in our local community of the North East? And now we're going to move over into the workshops, into the breakout rooms. Just get another piece of paper, just bear with me. So as part of the breakout rooms, you'll have a designated facilitator in those breakout rooms with you and a note taker in there, and they'll go some formalities with you about behaviours at the start of there. But again, the purpose of these discussions is to get your views on what you want us to do. What do you want those outcomes to be? We just ask that you're respectful and polite of other people in that in those workshops, and you recognise that. They're going to run for approximately 40 minutes. We're going to have a couple of minutes of transitioning into those workshops. You don't have to do anything except accept the request that will pop up on your screen. So it will say you're going to move you to breakout room set 2, and then you'll click OK, and that'll move you into your designated workshop. When you've gone into that workshop, you'll have your facilitator there, which will be one of our local councillors who will be delivering that, and the note taker, but then you'll automatically come back into our main event and we'll continue and summarise that up. So now what we'll start to do is move you into there. And again, it might take a couple of minutes, so don't worry, people will start disappearing from the main meeting event and they'll transition into those breakouts. And we'll see you in 45 minutes time back in the main event. So just bear with us while we just do that. Thank you. Hi, Rosie. Which room did you want to be in?
The community one,
The
please.
community neighbourhoods one, Dales. We've got you, Rosie. You'll disappear in a moment and go into the room. Callow?
Yeah, supposed to be in transport.
Supposed to be in transport. We're just going to move you in a moment. Sorry about this. Just bear with us.
Yeah, it just didn't move me when I did it.
I know it did. We've had a few technical problems. Oh, it will have assigned you, but you might have missed the pop-up that's come up on the screen that you have to accept.
I did accept it.
You did accept it?
Yeah.
Sorry, just bear with us. Callow, it's showing that you're actually in the room that you've been transitioned to.
Yeah, well, I'm in the main group.
You're still in the main group. Did your pop-up come up to accept?
Yeah, I accepted, and it just stayed. It said waiting to be accepted.
We think it might be your internet connection on your end. So could you just bear with it for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Thank you. We're going to try moving you to a different room and then back into the one. So just bear with us one moment. Khalil, could you just come out of the meeting, leave the meeting and then rejoin again on the link, and we think that it should do it then and put you in the correct room. I think it's your connection that's not going through because we've actually moved you.
All right, I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, sorry, it's still showing that you've actually moved into that room again. So I think it's an issue on your side. So I think you'll either have to wait till it transitions you, but we think it's your network, Khalil.
been prompted. I'm on. Thanks for that, everybody. I hope you've all had some fun in your breakout groups. A lot of feedback has been coming through. I've heard it all. Just to explain that there won't be, I'm sorry about me take any questions at this consultation event, but if you drop us a line, and I know one or two have been scribed down to there, and we'll feed back to you on them. So that's just a recap on that. Scribers, thanks for doing what you've done. Facilitators, if we have 2 minutes each, one from each group to come back to us. So I'll start off with you, Mark, first of all.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to apologise to Fatima, who finally got a chance to join us just as we got whisked away. So sorry about that, Fatima. Been having power cut issues. It might be worthwhile someone from the team contacting Fatima about some of the issues that she's got up there. That would be really helpful. So Lindsey or someone. We've got lots of notes in terms of the environment one. People won't be surprised to hear that there was not a single dissenting voice for Bring Out Your Rubbish Day. Everyone wants to bring out your rubbish day. So that would be really, really good. There was an interesting point made about HMOs and landlords contributing towards the removal of waste because that accumulates. But one thing that was mentioned by several people were garden fires and the antisocial behaviour that sometimes manifests from that and the anxiety that other people feel from it. It's really important because of the clean air element of it. Plastics being burnt is not good for anybody. So something to do about how we can make it easier to report environmental issues like that would be really, really helpful. So there were some specific issues that were raised, but garden fires, burning of plastic, waste from HMOs, and definitely Bring Out Your Rubbish Day would do that one. In terms of the first part, in terms of the parks, there's a general feeling that funding cuts have unfortunately impacted far too much on park services. We need to refocus on how we can support the Friends of groups because they get set up, they do stuff. There's not necessarily the continuity of support there for the Friends of groups, and they need to keep themselves fresh and reinvigorated, and they're feeling that they could do with more signposting as to how to re-engage with groups and bring new people in and make sure that funding and support for maintenance of parks is better, because obviously there's a lot of work done, but once the Friends of groups don't look after it because they're no longer able, then it gets rooted out or just mown down, and it feels disrespectful. The other thing that definitely came out is we want to see more detached youth workers engaging in our parks to make sure that they're using those parks, using those facilities appropriately, but that they have opportunities to make sure that they're engaged and educated about other people using the areas. And also, if we can get people into the parks with more activities going on, there is a hope that there'll be less antisocial behaviour outside our parks where youths are basically burning off energy that they've got no other place for it to be spent on. So if we could have a plea for better funding for our parks to maintain them as good places for people to run around and do stuff that's constructive instead of negative. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks for that, Mark. Can we have Fran Belding next?
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, so our themes were, well, the first theme was around travel and transport. What came through very strongly was that people are keen to see a lot more active travel in the area that feels safe and simple ways to travel, so particularly cycling and on foot. A lot of the area doesn't feel safe or comfortable to travel around if you are a cyclist or if you're travelling on foot. And in particular, the Northern Jungle came up, which is kind of in the middle of our area. Obviously, a lot of our residents may work there or have to travel there for one reason or another. Even the kind of walking routes to it, it's really quite difficult to access. With that be an area to act as a pilot, perhaps, for doing something more effective around active travel and around cycling routes and walking routes. we'd like to see better bus transport there as well. We recognise that's probably outside the remit of the committee, but better bus routes to certainly help. We also, and comes up in councillor postbags a lot, talks around similar things around schools and around school parking times, school opening and closing times, the issues around parking, and encouraging children to cycle to school, and again, parents feel safe with their children at the moment because the routes are not feel safe enough. So if that's something that we could ensure better cycling lanes for young people so they can access their school way. And then there were points as well around opening up some roads that are closed around the area, actually clear why they are closed, and actually feeling quite unsafe because there's no transport along there. And some issues around electric charging vehicles as well, and having more of those around the area. And then the other theme we had was around community safety and crime. So I think, although people reported feeling lots of wonderful things about living in the northeast of Sheffield, we do definitely have localities, pockets of areas where people are feeling quite intimidated. It's due to quite a wide range of issues, and I think everybody recognises not just one solution, but we wanted to look at more multi-agency approaches to those areas, so that we're both the urban landscape, but also policing, youth services, and different elements what can make areas feel safer. So that we know that there is the neighbourhood action group kind of approach, that multi-agency approach that's starting up across the north of Sheffield. I think there's a first meeting in the next few days, but looking at local ways to make that happen. And perhaps also that be a means of encouraging more neighbourhood watch schemes, where we're empowering our residents to learn with the antisocial behaviour out there and feel so.
Fran, I'm just going to come in there if you don't mind. Fran, we've heard everything so far, but you have froze on us now. But you've had 2.5 minutes. You've had half a minute longer than Mark.
That's fine.
So, but thank you for that. There's lots of there to good ideas, a lot of things, a lot of work to do. So here, Safia, can you go next?
Yeah, thank you so much. Dan and Councillor Ibtisam Mohammed were with me in the room, so if I miss any points, please step in. So we did the youth and the families, young people and families, and we did get a view about childcare prices have been really high for young mums to come out and to use certain facilities or try to engage with some training. Particularly the area of Parsons Cross, we were talking about the states and the flats and the areas and how it's quite neglected and antisocial behaviour sort of grows in those areas. So it's about how can we be proud in our area? How can we spread so much positivity in the area? And that's because Zoe was saying, you know, in our area, it's there are the Sheffield and community centre and the parks and the local pub that was closed for many years that we could have accessed and made it youth services and making sure that, you know, all these young people that hang around and can't afford to go to town or can't afford to go to cinema as just standing around will always increase because we're not using the community buildings in that area. Other thing is that mapping the youth services. What is the council in terms of the youth services, the area manager, you know, what is out there so we can see where the gaps are. We can't even create new projects or do a lot of prevention because we don't know what's out there. So in terms of the voluntary sector or whether it's a council prevention and intervention, we want to know or map how exactly the kind of information and how how can young families or families with lots of teenagers and that are going off the rail or just need that prevention and connection, how can they access these services if there's nothing we don't know what is out there, basically. And another point was schools and libraries. We need to utilize them at weekends and evenings. You know, they've got the schools are always, you know, closed in term or, you know, in half term. We need to use those areas, the facilities for the neighborhood. So much antisocial behavior and people being isolated, yet there's a building there that's all gated up, so we need to go in there. In terms of the library, what can we do? Can we come in? And another one is go when you're doing the mapping and understanding everything. We need people who are very grassroots. You know, it's a lot of trust issues in the area in terms of the families and the young people. They can't tell you, you know, you keep asking for what do you want the services, but nobody keeps coming back and feeding back. So one of the ideas is LAC is always feeding the residents back. And we've talked about the mapping in terms of the health and well-being. We've spoken, and we had a professional person in there spoken about we need intervention, we need more suicide awareness, we need, you know, everything is after COVID is gone double as much. We need a one-stop shop in every area that says that we can access it. This the GP is not your friend. You know, if you miss a 5-minute appointment, that's it, your appointment is gone. Why is it the intervention happens and after the family is all in crisis? That's too late. Why is it you're spending more money or NHS money of helping and providing?
Safia, I can listen to you for hours.
Sorry, more or less those are the 3 points
so
that we're doing.
It's been going from no, it's fine. That's you don't need to apologise. It started off in Mark sticking to his 2 minutes, then it went on for 2.5, and now you're up to 3. So I'm going to do.
So I'll get 3.5 then.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we were passionate in our group, so it's been really great.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Dawn, you had a lot more people in your group, so
we did, and it was a fantastic workshop. And I'd just like to thank everyone really for all of their input. And I'd like to thank my fellow councillors for being very well behaved. And if I do forget anything, Katie will obviously feed it in. I'm not going to, obviously, because at time scale, I'm not going to be able to put everything in. I can only pick 3 things, but I've kept notes of everything everybody said, and so has Katie, so that'll be good. So with regards to communities and neighbourhoods, we did speak around working more closely with voluntary and community sector to deliver integrated intergenerational activities. So we're not just focusing on youth, and we're not just focusing on older people. We're focusing on families and the whole household. So we offer opportunities for different generations to come together across the area, so building back that feeling of community. So that was one key thing. It was really important not to lose sight of neighbourhoods as well. So there was concern that the LAC was too broad brush. So we've got to ensure that we don't lose sight of neighbourhoods. We also support local residents to get positive messaging out across the city. So quite often in our neighbourhoods, people speak about us in a very derogatory manner. If you tell people you live in a certain area, people, oh, you don't live there, do you? So a role of the LAC will be to ensure that we support groups to promote what's going on in their area, some really positive, good news stories on social media and in the media in general, mainstream media. Access to services was really important, especially in the current financial climate with the raising in fuel bills, insecure jobs, rents rising. It would be really important that local people can find advice and guidance services locally. So how do you access Citizens Advice Bureau, energy efficiency, all that sort of stuff. Across the both themes that we talked about, one of the main things was digital inclusion and access to digital, whether that be devices or data. So ensuring that across our areas, we are working with places like Longley Green, so we'll do a digital drop-in, local libraries, and identifying and mapping where we can offer people access to that and supporting that as well. So then we looked at the business education and skills. One of the main areas of that was locally delivered education and skills in the form of adult community learning, which is a gap across the area. And that was in order to be able to support people into employment. There are lots of things going on around, we spoke about, you know, there's a lot of employment support, but people are not coming forward to look for work because the narrative nationally is there are no jobs, but there actually are. So at a local level, What we also spoke about was supporting local businesses to create a local business network and to map what businesses are in the area, and then link the local businesses with the voluntary and community sector organisations who are recruiting people into work, so that local businesses can employ local people, but not only just to employ, but also to offer mentoring and traineeships for local people, work experience, and that sort of thing. So, and again, throughout the whole of this, there was the thing around digital inclusion, but also information is key. Getting information out to local people about what is actually happening locally in their area and how they can become involved in that and access it. Did I do all right, Chair?
I've given you 3 minutes. You wanted 3.5 minutes, but you know.
Yeah, I don't think I missed anything, but there is a lot more information
Yes.
that was discussed in that workshop, but which we've collated, but they were the key things for us in our work group.
Well, I can't thank the scribers and facilitators for having all those breakout groups and everybody who's come tonight. It's been worth having this event on. And the next step for us is to collate it all, get some feedback from members, receive it all, put it all together, which is going to be a massive job for our members of staff to sit through this and start putting it back into a plan. And then we'll have to go back to the next, well, in March, we're all going to be face to face, hopefully, and we're to see each other. And then, well, the plan will be at that meeting and pass on to, hopefully February's up for that, but we need to be COVID compliant, but we're up to some association, get rid of all that. So all we're waiting for now is the March meeting. And like I said, we've got all councillors what's here tonight. I'm sorry we lost Fran, I think, because of her connection. Not sure she's come back in yet. But we will all sit down together with officers and put this plan together. And all the feedback what you've said, and all those people who couldn't make it tonight, they sent their bits in by email or text to us, and we'll get through all those. And in this next few weeks and months, if you do think of anything, you know, send us you get in touch with any local councillors. It doesn't have to be the office, but if everything comes back to the office from members, that'd be great. The date of the next time of the meeting, did we say that earlier, which should be in March? 22nd of March. But that's going to be confirmed, and we've got lots of emails anyway. If we haven't got your email, please drop us a line with that, so we can get in touch with you. But from me and all your councillors from all your wards are all here tonight. I just want to say thanks ever so much for turning up on this evening. Take care. God bless. See you all soon.
All right,
Peter. That's it.
Cheers. Whole meeting with mouth shut.
That is it, isn't it?
Spoiled it, Peter, at the end.
You did really well, Pete. I'm right proud of you.
I'll go and swear at football match now.